Several retailers have made the decision to drop Ivanka Trump's brand from their stores, and they like to mention that it was due to lagging sales. Now, that could be the case with some of these retailers, but we just got an interesting internal memo from Overstock.com indicating that the CEO is currently thinking about also dropping Ivanka Trump's brand. Now, the anonymous source sent us an internal memo. I'm going to read it to you in its entirety, and then we'll discuss. So it reads, "Dear team, when Donald Trump announced his candidacy, he did so making comments about Mexican immigrants and criminality. While I believe it is a legitimate issue for political discussion, in my view, it violated a social compact that has been in place since about 1970. The social compact holds that politicians should bend over backwards not to race bait, not to try to win political support by tickling racist sentiments in the population. Trump stated that when Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems. They're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. In my view, this statement fails that social compact. The same point could have been made in a sober fashion that offended no one outside of a college campus, where some people seem to be getting four-year degrees in how to be offended. Shortly thereafter, Trump made disrespectful comments about John McCain's service. At that point, I instructed that all of Donald Trump's products should be taken down from our site. They were taken down about 18 months ago. I did not instruct Ivanka Trump's products to be taken down on the grounds that it seemed inappropriate and un-American for me to go after the guy's daughter for things Donald has said. As I am sure you have heard, there is now a national movement to get retailers to kill products from both Donald and Ivanka. There are three ways we could handle it, and then he lists the three options for his employees. Number one, keep Donald's off and pull Ivanka's off. Keep Donald's off and keep Ivanka's on, that's the status quo. And three, put Donald's back up and leave Ivanka up. Which should we do? Please let me know by Thursday, February 16th, which is today, by 2 p.m. And then he includes a link to where people can vote on what to do.
So it's signed Patrick, and the CEO of Overstock.com is Patrick Byrne. So this is a very interesting story because Patrick Byrne is well known as a libertarian. I've interviewed him on the show before. You can't pigeonhole his politics. He's a very interesting guy. He's very much worried about government power, but obviously has good moral principles that he cares about, and he reflects that in his company. Now, I think that's a great thing. Some people might disagree. And so this is not a leak against him. It's just an interesting issue that a lot of different companies are grappling with.
Yep.
And the second thing that I like that he did is he's asking his employees. That's not such a bad thing for a boss to do.
Actually, reading this made me think of him as a pretty admirable CEO because he cares about what his employees feel, what they think. The employees, in some way, are represented by the company that they work for. I think the company you work for could say things about you. And so I like the fact that he's kind of opening it up in a very democratic way to allow them to voice their opinions. But I do also find it interesting to see what the internal workings are, because we don't really know the real decision why other retailers decided to pull the brand. They do state that there were lagging sales, and that could be true for some of the retailers. In this case, it's clear that it's more of a moral issue, and I think that's interesting.
Okay, we'll add a fun layer to this. Since Patrick Byrne wanted to poll his employees, let's poll our audience. Of those three options, which one should Overstock.com do? So we'll have where you can vote on the poll in the description box of the video that this is in, or in the comment section. So check that out when we put this up online. And you could tell how nuanced his political opinions are, because he doesn't like the guys who are too easily offended on college campus. On the other hand, he says there are things you actually should be offended by when you attack whole groups of races and ethnicities in America. And that is, principled conservatives or libertarians could still have that position, and it's heartening to see that they do. So I'm curious to see what Overstock.com is going to do in that regard. And I don't think it's an easy answer, by the way. And so I don't have a instinctive knee-jerk reaction to say pull all their products. I think it's a hard issue for all those retailers, and so we'll have to see how that comes out and how the country handles it, and also what you guys think about it. So let's all find out together. TYT Nation is everywhere. Podcast The Young Turks anytime you want. tytnetwork.com/join.
I think it's weird.
No, it's not weird. In fact, you'll think,
I'm like a smart person.
do it now. tytnetwork.com/join.